Alright, I think we're good to go. Oh, good, good. Okay guys, we're about ready to shoot. Who wants to be the co-host today?
I wanted to do it.
Oh, I kind of wanted to also.
I'll rock, paper, scissors you for it.
Okay, that's the deal.
One, two, three, shoot.
1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot.
Damn it!
Well, they could be a while. But today we're here to talk about some easy beginner aquarium plants. We got a lot of stuff to show you. Coming right up. Hello, I'm Clone Alpha and I'll be your Pecktec today. We have Rome behind the camera. Beta and Charlie are still trying to work out their rock, paper, scissors match. And you're here, which means it's time to talk about easy beginner aquarium plants, or aquarium plants that every beginner should know about. Before we begin, let's take a moment to quietly reflect upon Sean's haircut from the last Aquarium Plants for Beginners video.
What the hell were you thinking, Peck?
Damn! Okay, when last we left you, Sean told you about a lot of plants that can be just tied to rocks and branches and that sort of thing, like anubis and java fern and java moss. Those are all still great aquarium plants, but I want to tell you about some that are planted in the substrate. One of the questions I get the most is what kind of substrate should I use? And that subject is just way too broad for this episode. We'll deal with that at another time. I can, however, sum it up like this. Plants that are planted into the substrate get most, if not all, of their nutrients from the roots. So the better you feed them, the better they're going to do. As far as substrate options go, there's a wide range of products manufactured to grow plants and not harm fish. There's also an equally large number of DIY options that cost you almost nothing, and they work very well. As far as which one is better is a subject for another video. For now, let's move on to some plants. Oh wait, back up, there's lights too, the other question I get a lot. There's a lot of debate over lighting and that sort of thing, but let me put it this way. All the plants that I've grown and that I'm talking about in this video, I've grown under compact fluorescence lights that were roughly 1.5 to 2.5 watts per gallon. So these can all be grown, and that's sort of, I keep that moderate to low lighting. The LED lights and stuff are a lot harder to determine actually how bright they are. They use looms instead of this watts per gallon thing. So, but moderate, all of these will grow under moderate to low light. Not super well, but they will grow. One very popular beginner plant is the Dwarf Sagittaria. Now this was a really easy plant to put in the ground, and I'm told it takes a while to get going. I'm kind of new to this. I've seen it in other people's aquariums and I really liked it. It's a great little small bushy plant, and it's good for accenting hardscapes and kind of put sort of towards the mid to foreground of your aquarium. And although mine are too new and I haven't really seen this yet, I'm told it can quickly overgrow your tank once it gets rolling if the conditions are correct. So this might be an option for sort of a larger carpeting plant that's not as hard to grow. Now the next two plants I want to tell you about are Cryptocoryne. And I've been able to grow almost every kind of crypt. They're, as a species, a really easy plant to grow and a must for any beginner tank. This first one's called Cryptocoryne novelli. Now this is a tall, slender version of the Cryptocoryne, and it looks great, again, to accent the larger pieces of hardscape that you have, but it also makes nice, big, thick, bushy areas that fish can hide in. Now fish really needs an area like this to kind of get away from you or get to a place if they get scared or startled. You know, if they're startled and suddenly they're in shelter, then they immediately feel more comfortable. Something to keep in mind when you buy a new plant is that it has to acclimate to its environment, and some plants acclimate better than others, just like the fish. Now imagine, these plants have perfectly developed leaves for their grow out room that they were born in, and then they were pulled from there and taken to a shop and placed under whatever kind of lights they have. Then plucked out of that area and brought to your home and planted into your aquarium. It's going to take a while for those leaves to readjust to the area that they're in. And new leaves that you get will be perfectly suited to its environment. The old leaves are sort of a life support system to kind of help it as it develops its new growth. And once that new growth comes in, you can consider your plant acclimated. Now, how long that takes is different from plant to plant. Some plants even disappear, just melt away altogether, only to re-emerge like ashes from the phoenix. Anyway, I'm talking about my next plant, the Cryptocoryne wendtii. Now, Cryptocoryne wendtii are bar none the easiest plant to grow in an aquarium, in my opinion. I bought 3 pots of these when I first started my first planted tank about 11-12 years ago. And I'm using the same plants. They propagated and propagated. I've given tons of plants to friends. I've given plants to fans. I've given plants to other aquariums around my house. And it's still almost taken over half that 30-gallon tank. So it is a fantastic plant. It'll grow in nearly any condition. Now, it grows differently in these different conditions. Of course, if you give it CO2 and lots of light, it's going to really puff up. But even in this kind of low to moderate light, you can get this to grow. Now, it does this disappearing act though. A lot of times, especially with this particular one, when you plant it, the leaves just kind of melt away. Now, eventually, you might see a little green sprout just kind of come up in the middle, and that's the plant coming back. Now, I've had a plant go from that little sprout to completely covering the bottom of an aquarium just within the span of maybe 6 months or so. I mean, it doesn't come up overnight, but man, it's the creeping death. The extensive root system they create will clean your entire tank. Everything that settles down into that substrate will eventually become food for them. That's why plants are the most beautiful and productive aquarium filters you can buy. So there's just a couple of plants to get you started. And remember to plant as many of them as possible. The more you start with, the better. Folks, the big thing I want to drive home is don't be afraid to start a planted tank. It's not necessarily hard, and it's not necessarily expensive. Now, some people make it that way through their own wants or desires or whatever. But you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a planted tank, and a planted tank is a clean tank. Well, folks, that's all I have for today's show.
Wait, is it over already?
Hey, can we finish it out? Yeah, okay, sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to leave a comment with your favorite aquarium plant in the comments below.
And remember to comb your hair before you get on the internet for the whole world to see.
And don't forget to follow your bliss.
And keep a clean tank. See ya, folks.
Like the heartbreak of a child.
Signs you've given up.
It's like he did his hair, but he's holding it out the car window.
That's a look that says, hey, I just woke up, where am I? Ooh.
It's like wearing pajamas when you go to Walmart. I mean, you shouldn't do it. You can do that, but you shouldn't do it. That's a look that says, I'm here to be goofy and party, and I'm all out of party.
Yes, all out of party. And I'm glad we weren't here to see it.
It's like sticking out like an eagle.
You got wings, dude! You got wings!
I'm sorry, Peck. We'll leave you alone. I know, Peck.